Alright, so you've made the fateful decision to move to China, and luckily for you guys, I've made a bunch of useful information which I've compiled together. Hopefully it should help you guys out. It's stuff I really wish I knew beforehand. You know, I'm currently a second year PhD student in Shanghai, and it was the most painful experience ever applying to China. So many documents, so many things to fill in. There's like physical examination tests you have to take. It is really stressful, but I've put loads of advice in this video. It should make everything a lot more simpler and better for you guys, so enjoy. Alright, so I guess the first thing you need to decide is which university to go to. Now, back in my home country, the United Kingdom, there's a little over 100 universities to choose from, and at the time of choosing my bachelor's degree, I thought that was so many. And then I come to China to study, there's over 1,500 different universities. The country is so vast, it is so huge. And what you find with China, each city is entirely different. You get different languages, different culture, different temperatures entirely. You get freezing at the very north and then really hot and humid at the very south. So you need to choose the right city and do a little bit of research before going. Now, Chinese cities are all ranked on a tier system. So at the very bottom, you've got tier 3, then you go up to tier 2, and then you've got tier 1. It's actually split into two categories. So you have the regular tier 1 and then the super tier 1. So super tier 1 is at the very top. And these cities include Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou. These are some of the most affluent areas in all of China. They're some of the most busiest, crowded, most populous and largest cities in the whole country. However, the downside to living in these kind of cities are that the rent is extortionately more expensive compared to the lower tier cities. So I'm in the city centre of Shanghai. I'm in a decent sized flat. It's actually pretty good. It's a good location. I've got everything which I want nearby me. However, the rent is about, I think it's about 3,500 RMB a month. Whereas if I was in a tier 2 or tier 3 city, you could probably be spending about a third of that price. So hopefully this should then help you decide which city to live in. And it should be no surprise to you then that the top 10 universities in China are all in the tier 1 cities. So you've got Peking and Tsinghua University, which are in Beijing. You've then got Shanghai Jiaotong and Fudan, which are in Shanghai. And then you've got Zhejiang University, which is in Hangzhou. Now, if you're Chinese, you have to basically be a genius to go to the top universities. What you need to do is you have to pass these exams called the Gaokao exam, and that is a pre-admission exam into university. Now think, the whole of the country, aged 17, 18, will be taking these exams, and it is extremely competitive to get in. So, for example, I've got a classmate, she's a good friend of mine. She came in the top 300 or 400 in her entire province. To put that into context, the whole province, there's about 4 million students taking this exam. She finished in the top 300-400. So you'd think she'd go to the top university. She was actually rejected by all of her top choices. You know, it shows how competitive the whole system is if you are Chinese. And in recent years, Chinese universities, they're trying to become more diverse. More international students are being admitted. But of course, you still need to get the top grades. It's really hard to get into. So I definitely recommend try and go for the top universities in China. You might have a really good chance. Then, of course, in terms of accommodation, you're going to get the best deal on campus. But this is the thing you need to do a little bit of research on. You need to check where exactly your university campus is, because each city is probably going to be huge, especially if you're in a tier 1 city. For example, my campus is on the outskirts of Shanghai. So many people actually say it's not really in Shanghai because it's so far away. You could take an hour or two just to get into downtown, city centre, etc. However, one thing that most students complain about on campus is that there's a curfew, and that's probably going to be between around 10 PM and 6 AM, so you can't actually return back to your dorm between those times. Okay, so you then want to apply for the scholarship. This is the big one, this is what you've all been waiting for, I'm sure, and there's two types of scholarships to go for. You've got the CSC, so that's the Chinese Scholarship Council, and that's from the national government. And then you've got the local scholarship, so that's going to be from the city that you're living in. I absolutely recommend though to go for the national government scholarship, the CSC. That's so much better, and the reason being is that you can extend the scholarship for a further year if needed. So if you're not sure if you're going to finish your studies on time, you can extend it, whereas with the local scholarship, you've only got an allotted amount of time. You have to finish it within that time period. And the majority of people I speak to who apply for the local scholarship do so because you don't need to take the physical examination test. However, it's basically a big lie. because no one tells you when you arrive in China you have to do it anyway. So my advice is get it done in your home country. It's a little bit expensive probably depending on where you live, but get it out of the way with, do it as early as possible. This should be the first thing really that you're doing. So yeah, I'll put a link in the description showing you how to do it. There's a really good video showing exactly the steps that you need to take. And then I'm going to talk about the physical examination test. This is the biggest pain, honestly. This took so long to do. So I'm going to give a brief outline of exactly what you need to get done. So firstly, a chest x-ray, and that's probably going to be the most expensive thing of all. And what you get with it is a laboratory report and also a CD, and you need that CD. That's probably going to show you what your x-ray looks like. You need to bring both of those with you to China. After that, you can get an ECG, that just checks your heart rhythm's okay, and then you're going to have a blood type test and a blood test. I thought that was the same thing, however it's 2 separate tests. And also a really good tip if you want to take your blood type test for free is to donate some blood. It's really simple, it's really fast, and of course you're helping a load of other people out who need the blood. You should get your results in a few days and they'll tell you your blood type. I really hate needles though, so I was so close to passing out, but it saves you a lot of money anyway. And of course, it's for the greater good. And then you've got the blood test, that's telling you if you've got any viruses like HIV or syphilis. And after that, you have an eye test, and that's going to be done through an optician, and then the rest of it is essentially all done through your doctor. You need to have a blood pressure test. You can't do that yourself. You need to get a doctor to check your blood pressure. You then need to have your doctor check up a load of things like your nose, your ears, your tonsils, and a load of other things. Alright, congratulations, you've been accepted to university, you've got your scholarship, you've got your visa, you've got everything all sorted. The most important thing though is to remember to bring everything with you, and I mean everything. You need to bring a physical copy of your degree certificate, your transcripts, your physical examination form with all of the reports associated with it. But also you need to have a photocopy of it all because the university will want to check that. And then another annoying thing is that you need everything stamped as well. So any forms from your previous universities, make sure they're all stamped and signed. Alright guys, so that's the end of the video. Hopefully you learned something or two and it will help you apply for university when you decide to move to China. I'll try and make some more videos on maybe living in China, studying in China, more things like that. But anyway, hopefully this video was useful and I'll see you guys next time.